It is over for Rachel Zegler. Her career is done. She will be lucky if she makes it on a direct-to-DVD Steven Seagal movie at this point.
What happens when a billion-dollar studio tries to rewrite a beloved fairy tale and ends up torching its legacy in the process? You get Disney's Snow White remake, a cultural train wreck so explosive it didn't just flop at the box office, it lit up the internet, divided fans, and may have just destroyed the career of its leading actress, Rachel Zegler. Once hailed as the next big thing in Hollywood,
the controversies surrounding Disney's Snow White remake show that we are still in the thick of the culture wars. Oh, have you been following the Snow White?
Actually, the first time hearing of this.
Really?
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Good for you.
Well,
Zegler now finds herself in the crosshairs of a media firestorm. Her name trending not for triumph, but for what many are calling one of the most disastrous PR debacles in recent memory. Theaters are pulling the movie. Toy shelves are being cleared. Memes are brutal. And audiences, they're not just rejecting the film, they're revolting against it. What began as a bold reimagining has become a cautionary tale in real time.
I mean, they're projected to lose between 2 and 400 million on this.
It's over. It's a wrap. Because her entire career rested on this Snow White movie being a success, and it ain't looking good.
So how did a movie that should have been a guaranteed win turn into a full-blown fiasco? Buckle up, because this is the story of how a princess lost her crown before the clock even struck midnight. The controversy began long before the cameras even started rolling. Rachel Zegler, a talented Latina actress known for her breakout role in West Side Story, was cast as Snow White. And while some applauded the diversity, others were quick to point out,
Look at this, 46%. That's horrible. That's a disaster, bro. That ain't good. You might as well just...
that the original character was described as having skin as white as snow. Conservative commentators called the casting revisionist and accused Disney of pandering to identity politics. It sparked debates across media outlets, comment sections, and forums. The announcement was meant to showcase progress. Instead, it planted the seeds of division.
You know, I typically say just release this garbage on Disney Plus, but no. I think they should just just forget this. Just try to erase this movie from existence completely at this point.
To many fans, this wasn't about being inclusive. It was about abandoning beloved character traits in favor of modern trends. And that shift, intentional or not, struck a nerve in an already divided entertainment landscape. But the real explosion didn't come until Zegler herself took the spotlight. During early interviews, she described the original Snow White as outdated, saying it was no longer 1937.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
Prince.
She's not going to be safe with a prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
She mocked the prince character, labeled the romantic storyline as irrelevant, and positioned herself as a feminist reinterpretation of the classic role. Her comments weren't received well. Fans felt she was being disrespectful to the legacy of Disney's first ever animated feature. The tone of her interviews was perceived as dismissive, even arrogant. And the internet doesn't forget. Clips of her interviews went viral.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign. I am.
I don't want to gag myself on the air, so I won't do that. You know what bothers me more than anything about this? These stories are invented by women.
With critics calling her entitled, ungrateful, and even antagonistic toward the very audience Disney was trying to reach. The fallout only escalated as Zegler doubled down, liking tweets that praised her boldness while ignoring waves of criticism. Her unwillingness to acknowledge the backlash left many fans feeling alienated.
housewives throughout Germany made up these stories, and then the Brothers Grimm went around and collected them and found them. These are the creations of women.
Then came the politics. Zegler, vocal on social issues, supported Palestine amid the ongoing Middle East conflict, while her co-star, Gal Gadot, an Israeli actress, has a well-known pro-Israel stance. The contrast created an awkward tension during press appearances, with rumors swirling of backstage disagreements. For a film already under fire, these real-world political undertones only added fuel to the fire.
And they spoke into the minds of children, and they weren't forcing children to be anything. They were talking about things that children already know are there.
Some fans accused Disney of choosing chaos over cohesion, of putting ideology ahead of story. Disney spent over $250 million on this Snow White remake. But instead of honoring the original, they reimagined it completely, scrapping the 7 dwarfs and replacing them with magical creatures to avoid offending anyone. Ironically, this offended everyone, including the dwarfism community.
Like witches and evil and fear and true love. They weren't creating girls who wanted to fall in love. Girls want to fall in love. It's part of the beauty of life.
Peter Dinklage famously criticized the project, sparking backlash from actors with dwarfism who wanted the work. What was meant to be a gesture of sensitivity turned into a public relations disaster. Prince Charming, gone. The romantic subplot, cut.
And then they couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
The result was a film that critics said felt more like a corporate lecture than a magical fairy tale. Fans said it lacked soul, charm, and most importantly, heart. Instead of enchantment, viewers got empowerment slogans. Instead of whimsy, they got agendas. And in trying to modernize a classic, Disney seemed to forget what made it timeless in the first place.
You'd think the most progressive thing would be get people jobs, and dwarves want to work.
Like an honest golden employment opportunity for dwarves.
Despite its massive budget, the movie grossed just over $170 million worldwide. Analysts project Disney lost over $100 million on the film, making it one of the biggest flops in recent studio history. Even worse, the backlash forced Disney to pause production on other live-action remakes.
Not that many scripts that come down the pike.
Only 7 of them.
That has, and there's 7 dwarf jobs here. But because I think it was Peter Dinklage said this is, this is not right to...
Like Tangled, showing just how deep the damage went. Merchandise sales bombed. Retailers pulled toys from shelves. Theaters canceled showings. It was a full-scale retreat. The financial hit wasn't just about money, it was about reputation. Disney, long considered bulletproof when it came to animated nostalgia, had stumbled in spectacular fashion. And Wall Street noticed. Online, it got brutal. Memes flooded social media, photos of empty theaters went viral. Hashtags like #Snow White flop trended for days. YouTubers dissected Zegler's interviews frame by frame, and public sentiment turned dark. Theaters reported record low attendance. Even longtime Disney fans turned away, calling the film a betrayal of the studio's legacy. And inside Disney, panic spread.
Rachel Zegler spent her energy, her time, leading up to the release of this Snow White movie, shitting on the original.
Executives were reportedly blindsided by the backlash. Emergency meetings were held. Damage control was launched. But the bleeding wouldn't stop. Some insiders revealed that early test screenings had raised red flags. The studio ignored them. Others blamed the marketing team for failing to anticipate the backlash. No matter where the blame landed, the message was clear. Disney had lost touch with its audience. As the face of the film, Zegler bore the brunt of the criticism. Her comments about being paid for every hour in the Snow White dress, even during promotional appearances.
I think Rachel Zegler probably wants this too. I think Rachel Zegler, she probably wants people to forget about this movie. She wants people to forget this entire experience. She would probably appreciate Disney just making this movie go away.
Were labeled tone deaf. People said she didn't respect the character or the audience. Industry insiders hinted Disney regretted casting her. Online forums predicted she'd never lead a major film again. And while she was still invited to red carpet events like the Met Gala, her public image took a major hit. Some sources claimed Zegler became emotionally overwhelmed by the backlash. While she publicly clapped back at critics, others whispered she was advised to stay quiet by PR teams that feared further damage. But silence didn't help either. It created a vacuum the internet was all too eager to fill. Reports say Disney's internal PR teams were working around the clock to contain the fallout. Employees began referring to the project as Snow Wrong. Multiple sources claim test screenings had already warned the studio that audiences weren't connecting with the film.
Because that other side, right? The woke weirdos, the lizards, these people, they don't believe in having kids.
But Disney pushed forward anyway, confident they could fix it with a strong trailer and clever marketing. That gamble failed spectacularly. Bob Iger himself was reportedly furious, blindsided by the scale of the backlash. Rumors of executive shakeups spread. People who had championed the project suddenly distanced themselves from it. Internally, morale plummeted. This wasn't just about a failed film, it was about trust. Disney had broken the unwritten contract with its fans, and now it was paying the price. This wasn't just a movie flop, it was a cultural implosion. The Snow White remake became a symbol of what happens when studios ignore their audience, when legacy is sacrificed for messaging, and when stars forget who they're performing for. For Rachel Zegler, this is a career-defining moment. Will she bounce back? Maybe, but it won't be easy. The internet doesn't forget.
Right? And not to mention that the people that voted for Trump tend to be people that appreciate more wholesome values, traditional values, people that tend to have kids, right?
And the shadow of this controversy will follow her for years to come. And for Disney, the lesson is even harder. When you rewrite a fairy tale, make sure it still feels magical. Because once you lose the trust of your audience, no amount of CGI, celebrity casting, or empowerment slogans can bring it back. This debacle has become a blueprint for what not to do. Ignore the fans, mock the legacy, and downplay backlash at your own peril. And if you think this is the last time Hollywood will get burned by a reboot, think again. The next scandal may already be brewing.